Hi, my name's Stephen, and welcome to My Thoughts. I'm going to do this video on the Yowie, the Australian Yowie. It's Australia's version of Bigfoot. So, in the Australian outback, for many generations since colonisation happened back in 1788 by Captain Cook, many settlers coming into the Australian outback, which is the terminology for our forest, have mentioned that they've come across things that resemble a gorilla. Generally, a Yowie would relate to the American Bigfoot. If you're very familiar with these cryptids, and people call them cryptids, I truly 100% believe that this creature has physically been in our forest. I have on two occasions seen things that have been very questionable, and they've definitely been things like I've always believed in the Bigfoot, but however, I remember driving along with my sister in a car about 16 years ago through the Sunshine Coast down the Bruce Highway, and looking over into the pine forests and noticing what I thought was like a 7 foot, 8 foot man holding onto a tree, thinking, wow, that guy's pretty tall, just standing in the middle of a field. And not at that time, I wasn't reading or researching or interested in the Australian Yowie. It was just me looking off the road, looking into the forest whilst we're driving down the road, and I'm seeing this very tall, skinny, lanky, black figure holding onto a tree, thinking, geez, what's this guy is like the biggest basketball sort of build guy I've ever seen, and I'm 6'4", by the way. So, being 194 centimeters to 195 centimeters, and then looking at a man holding onto a tree in the middle of the forest. I didn't tend to think, hey, is this person naked or anything, which, I've never heard of a Yowie with clothes on, but hey, each to their own. There's a lot of people that think these Yowies just appear out of thin air. If they see a UFO, commonly there's a Yowie sighting, but however, just to give you a description of what the AI Google depicts a Yowie as. The Yowie is a legendary hominid from Australian folklore, often described as a hairy ape-like creature that roams the remote wilderness of the Australian outback. Deeply rooted in Aboriginal oral history, it is frequently called the Australia's Bigfoot due to its physical and behavioural similarities to the North American Sasquatch or the Himalayan Yeti. While reports vary, common descriptions of the Yowie include the height typically stands between 2.1 and 3.6 meters, so 7 to 12 feet. So to give you a sort of reference, Shaquille O'Neal, 7 foot. Basketball hoop, when you're at your local basketball court, 10 foot. So in between Shaq's head and the ring is another 3 foot. So people have apparently seen higher than that up to 12 foot. I've never really come across stories of these 12-foot giants. Probably 8 foot or 9 foot is the highest I've seen. However, If you're online and you're looking around for videos on Yowies, go to the Yowie Hunters website, AYR. There's hundreds, I think there's about 213 witness audios that have been posted via YouTube from all different parts of this country. I've listened to each one of those 213 videos at least 5 to 6, maybe 7, 8 times each, because I find it so absolutely fascinating. And I want to know the signs of what to look out for when a yowie is near, because I love bushwalking, and every time I'm out bushwalking, I do take into account always looking for footprints, always looking for hair samples, always looking for signs. Even my most recent time out at Springbrook, which is apparently one of the biggest hotspots of Yowie sightings in Australia, right up there with the Blue Mountains, and also Dorrigo, which is west of Coffs Harbour, and your most famous one out near Coonabarabran. I forget the forest name, but you know what I'm talking about if you're a avid Yowie hunter. The Pilbara. Yes, the Pilbara. A lot of great stories. If you're watching the AYR video audio references, make sure you look up Hickey Falls. So Hickey, like Mickey, but Hickey Falls. Watch that one. If you're not convinced after that, then maybe Bigfoot hunting is not for you, because that is the most graphic and detailed story, and it's very believable. It's from a mother who's out with a few of her children, and one of her child's friends out swimming for the day. Absolutely terrifying. I've listened to it on multiple occasions, and I've got no reason to believe that she's lying when she's telling this story. However, back to the Google reference. With Yowies, their appearance is covered in thick, shaggy fur that ranges from deep brown to blacks to reddish or ginger. It has a flat, broad nose and a large mouth, and sometimes tusks like canine teeth. So many of these Yowie descriptions on the AYR video audio references, some of the people see different things. One of the most common traits that people describe, that they smell the yowie first, so that they get this thick, foul, feces, electrical cable burning like smell, something that's so strong that it burns the senses in their nostrils, that they are just totally smelling something that's foul, or something that's a smell that's defensive, that is so defensive that they are very that it almost upsets them just smelling this smell, and they know just to stay away. And it's usually been described as rotting death smell with electrical cables, even sometimes wet dog. I hear wet dog quite a lot as well. I've never come across a wet dog before and gone, "Oh, better stay away." Always give them a pat. Anyway, so they're often the features, and yes, they do come in all different colors. So just imagine you're out in the jungle, you're seeing a human-like creature covered in fur or hair. Most of the time, most people just describe it as hair, and the hair ranges in color, just like human hair. We have people on the planet that are blonde, brown-haired, black-haired, orange-haired, just naturally. The same sort of features are mentioned in Yowies, and like I said, I don't know if I said it on this video or I'm just repeating myself. However, with Yowies, they could possibly be from a time before time. Back in the past, we know for a fact that archaeologists have found different species of human that did exist. So when I say different species, like for instance, if we think of a dog, with dogs, you've got all different types of species like dogs, like your common house dog. Now, there's all different types of breeds of common house dogs, but when I say species, I'm thinking like wolves, foxes. We've even got there's even other types of dogs. Hyenas, I would probably consider it a dog. I wouldn't consider it a feline, even though they say it's half-half. I would probably lean it towards a dog. But yeah, you have those sort of different species of dog, but even within that different species of dogs, you've got many different breeds of wolf, and you've got many different breeds of foxes, and so I think of a Yowie as a different breed of human, and I think that at one point, we were walking along with it in the jungles, trying to stay away from predators. However, this has always been the main predator that we've been looking at. This is what is ingrained in our mind, into our genetics, to that when we're in the forest, we're programmed to be looking out for this big, hairy man. And so yeah, these, however, I also believe that with Yowies, when people are out bushwalking in the forest, they may be walking past one. I think all of if there are missing people that have been reported in the Australian outback, it could be possibly the reason why that some people go missing, and when they say missing without a trace, I believe something that's 8 foot, extremely muscly, can run twice as fast as Usain Bolt in a 100-meter sprint, could pick you up and take you into the forest and never to be seen again. I think, if you just look at Google Earth, when after your next bushwalk, and look at your pathway, and then look at the 700, 800 kilometers of forest that no one has ever been in before, that it would be to the left or right of you on that pathway. There's a very good chance that something could go missing in that forest and never to be seen again. And people are, there's a lot of people out there that don't believe or don't choose to believe in these things. And, even if were to listen to this video, would go, this dude is batshit crazy. But however, I definitely think it's better to believe and be aware than to be blind to it. And you've also got to take into the fact and to account that these reports are coming in from people that are in the forest, that have lived there all their lives. They're never, city people that have once gone into the forest. Some of the reports are that, but generally, all the reports are from people who actually live there. So I would tend to think that I would trust the person who's living out there. Yes, batshit crazy people live in the forest. Yes, they do. But also very smart people that want to get away from society, don't like to be around millions of people every day. They don't feel comfortable in leaving 5 meters through a wall from someone or a fence. They like their next door neighbor to be 100 kilometers away. So there are those people too. And generally, those people are the ones that are having the sightings. And yes, maybe they could be a little crazy. Yes, maybe they are seeing things. Yeah, some of the mushrooms out there have played with their mind. But I ideally think that yes, there is a reasonable realism to the Yowie. I would hazard even to say, go and stand out at O'Reilly's, or go to Coralbin, or go to Binnaburra, Springbrook, any of those places, Blue Mountains, even Pilbara. Stand out there for a good hour. Just go and stand out there in the middle of the forest for a good hour. Take 2 of your friends. I guarantee you might come across a sighting, something that's interested in you. And it even goes back to my dark forest theory that I did release on my very first video. So if you haven't, if you don't know what the dark forest theory is, yeah, go have a look at it. It's Joe Rogan's done a lot of good podcasts, and I even mentioned it as my first video for my thoughts, because that's why I'm doing these my thought videos, to get out everything that I've been thinking. I've been holding on to this information for so long, and I just need to voice it. So, yeah. So back to the descriptions. The Yowie Aboriginal origins is known by many other names across the Indigenous Australian cultures, reflecting its long history in the land. The regional names known as Quinkin or Jugabina in Queensland, and as Gindaring, Dulaga, or Gulaga in New South Wales. So yeah, we have tribes ranging over a 3,000 kilometer square ratio. Different tribes been here 48,000 to 60,000 years. We know that for a fact. And they have names for these things. These names have been passed down from family unit to family unit. And every time when you do sometimes talk to the indigenous people of this country, they will tell you these stories, but they tell you the Dreamtime stories, and they tell you stories of other things that they know that have lived in the jungle. Now, I'm not talking like a drop bear, possibly a drop bear could be real if you've seen Thylacoleo. If you haven't seen what a Thylacoleo is, go and have a look at it. It was the Australian marsupial lion. It's technically a lion / koala with hands, and it has opposable thumbs, so it can literally jump out of a tree, grab you, and eat you. And it has 2 giant rat-like teeth in the front. Yeah, it's a scary thought, and most of them have been about the size of a pit bull that have been discovered so far. So and the last one that was surviving was like 10,000 years ago. I think they found it in a sunken cave in outback of Adelaide, one of those sort of mine shaft like sort of caves that drop to an underground chamber, and apparently it died out there when walking along in the desert back when Adelaide, South Australia, had an outback ocean, and that's why you find seashells and stuff in the middle of the desert. If you haven't been out in the desert, yes, you do find seashells out there quite regularly. It is quite freaky to think that the ocean went in that far. But again, whole nother story. Do your research. There's a lot of things about Australia that not many people know about, but however, um, this is the land that we live on. Yeah. So notable sightings and locations with the Yowie. Sightings have been reported for over 200 years along the eastern seaboard and the Great Dividing Range. So the Great Dividing Range is technically Toowoomba, heading right down into New South Wales. It's a massive range of mountains that basically, separate the coast from the interior land of Australia. And if you have a look on our maps, there's quite a few 100,000 square kilometers of just absolute nothingness where these things could typically hide. If you look at the size of Brisbane or the size of Sydney or the size of Melbourne, and then you just put that in a circle and then put that circle into the middle of some of these forests, it doesn't even touch the sides. So you can just imagine how big some of these forests, and some of these forests are like tropical rainforests that are the size of a whole city that is on the east coast of Australia. So the hotspots that Google has referenced is the Blue Mountains in New South Wales, Springbrook. That's where I was last weekend, and the famous and these are places where famous for high value volumes of reported encounters, and the reason why you get high volumes of reported encounters is because of the fact is there's so many people traversing through these areas. So you won't get high numbers of volumes of through the Pilbara because everyone knows not to go into the Pilbara alone. Or for a hike or anything. So you do get quite a lot of sightings through the main drag of the highway, but in the bush you probably have a handful of people that have ever really gone into the Pilbara, other than hunters and murderers and people like that. Kilcoy, Queensland, the self-proclaimed Yowie capital of Australia. This town features the famous Yowie statue, Yowie Park, to commemorate local sightings that go back to 1979. Even their football team, last I checked, were called the Yowies. So, very... they've made it into a local theme. If they're making a Yowie burger out there that's big enough for a Yowie, give me a like and subscribe, and come and tell me about it if it's good. Famous figures. So there was Tim the Yowie Man, and he hasn't been around for a while. I hope he's still around. But we haven't heard from him lately. Could have been taken by a Yowie, but. When it comes down to it, Yowie versus Bigfoot, while similar, the Yowie is often portrayed as more aggressive than Bigfoot. Some reports claim it has talon-like claws and large fangs that differentiate from North American counterpart. So if you're out in the Australian outback and you see something hanging onto a tree, or you get a feeling, and that feeling is of fear, and you don't know why, you feel like something's watching you, and then you come across a smell, or you hear tree breaks or crashing through the jungle or something that is out of the ordinary, you are most likely encountering a Yowie. So my suggestion, if you do come across these things, turn back and go the way that you came. Do not run. It will outrun you. Just walk back the way you came. Or if your closest exit is where you're going, walk quietly and just continue and just think happy thoughts. Do not stress. Like anything, even if you're walking through the worst neighborhoods of Brisbane or Gold Coast or Sydney or Melbourne, the best thing to do, walk quietly, walk tough, and get the hell out of there. Okay. If you liked listening to me and you liked my ramblings and my ranting, I'm going to make a lot of different videos over time. It could be a lot of different reasons. It could be a political. It could be cryptid in nature. It could be, when I say political, it'd be lightly political. I'm not that sort of person that's going to try and get you to believe what I believe. I don't even believe anything. My views change from time to time. So the man I was 5 years ago is definitely not the man I am today, and the man that I'll be in 5 years from now is probably the whole different dude that we haven't met yet. But hopefully you like these videos and you keep listening and you get to meet that man in 5 years. Thank you very much. Have a good day. And like and subscribe. Yeah, so if you look right there, that's the like button. Like it. Bing, bing.